Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of a company called Pool Innovations? Yeah, probably not. But what if I told you this company, flying completely under the radar, is building an ecosystem that's being valued in the billions? Stick around, because this one is absolutely fascinating.
Yup, you heard that right. A conservative valuation puts them somewhere between $3 and $5 billion, with the potential for way, way more. So the obvious question is, how, right? How does a company that most of us have never heard of get that kind of price tag? Well, the answer is all about tackling some of the biggest, oldest problems in finance with one single, incredibly powerful idea.
And this is it. This is the big idea. What if trust wasn't just a gut feeling or a reputation? What if it was a quantifiable, real-time metric? An actual number you could use to secure transactions, unlock assets, and build a whole new kind of economy? That single question is the engine behind everything Pool Innovations is doing. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll dig into that $5 billion question. Then we'll look at the new way they measure trust. After that, we'll see how it's being used to fix a ridiculously huge market and unlock hidden value. And finally, we'll connect all the dots to see what this could mean for the future of, well, everything.
So, about that multi-billion-dollar valuation, where does it come from? Well, it's not from a single killer app or gadget. It's from a grand strategy to go after fundamental flaws in some of the world's biggest markets.
All right, this right here is the secret sauce. This is the engine that powers the entire vision, the big aha moment. Pool has come up with a completely new way to measure trust, and it all starts by totally rethinking what a credit score should be. They call it the Unified Behavioral Trust Infrastructure. I know, it sounds a bit corporate, right? But the concept behind it is brilliant. It's a system built from the ground up to measure trust itself. Not by looking at your payment history from 6 months ago, but by analyzing your digital reliability right now, in real time. It's about your behavior, not just your bank balance. And they've built this whole ecosystem around it, breaking it down into what they call files. You've got your P file for personal trust, a G file that measures the reliability of a whole group, a B file for small businesses, and of course, a C file for big corporations. Each layer gets its own trust analysis, which creates this incredibly detailed map of reliability across the entire economy.
So let's put this head-to-head with what we all know, the traditional credit score. Think of their P score as credit score 2.0. The old score? It's like driving by only looking in the rearview mirror. It's slow, it's based on old news, and it locks millions of people out of the system. The P score is the exact opposite. It's live, it's dynamic, and it can actually bring the unbanked into the modern financial world by giving them a way to prove they're reliable.
So you've invented this revolutionary new way to measure trust. Awesome. Now what do you do with it? Well, if you're Pool Innovations, you immediately go after one of the biggest, riskiest games in town, the foreign exchange market, FX. I want you to just take a second and let this number sink in. $7.5 trillion. That's not a year, that's not a month. That is the amount of money traded on the FX market every single day. It is the biggest financial market on the planet, and believe it or not, it has a massive, dangerous flaw right at its core. And that flaw has a name, Herstat risk. In plain English, here's what it is. Because of time zones and clunky old banking systems, when you trade currencies, there's a window of time where you've sent your money, but you haven't received the other currency yet. If the other party goes bankrupt in that little window, poof, your money's just gone. It's a huge systemic risk that haunts the entire global financial system. So here's how their FX Lock solution fixes this trillion-dollar problem. It's a super elegant three-step process. First, it tokenizes the contract, turning it into a secure digital asset called an FX note. Second, a smart contract acts like an automated, unbribable referee, enforcing all the rules. And third, this is the magic part, it settles the trade atomically. That means both currencies are exchanged at the exact same instant. That risk window, it doesn't just get smaller, it completely vanishes. Gone. But this technology isn't just for Wall Street traders. It can also unlock a ton of value in assets that many of us have. Things that are valuable, but are kind of stuck. They're hard to spend or borrow against. For example, the equity you have in your home. It's probably your biggest asset, right? But it's totally locked up. The clock protocol completely changes that. It allows you to tokenize a piece of your home's equity, turning it into a digital asset called a prop note. And just like that, that trapped value is liquid.
You can use it for collateral and decentralized finance, or DeFi, all without having to sell your house. It's a real game changer.
And it's not just for huge assets like real estate. What about all those airline miles and credit card points just sitting around in your accounts? The Creds platform does the same thing. It takes this $41 billion market of unused points and turns them into actual spendable assets. It's all about finding hidden value that's hiding in plain sight. Okay, so we've seen the new trust metric, the fix for the FX market, and a way to unlock assets. They all sound pretty cool on their own, but now we have to zoom out and see the big picture. This is where it all clicks together and where that multi-billion-dollar price tag really starts to make sense. You see, this is not just a collection of different products. It's a true ecosystem. The loyalty platform feeds customers into the banking tech. The banking stack provides the on-ramp into the DeFi world, and the entire Pool Bank platform can be sold as a white-label solution for other businesses. Every single piece makes the other pieces more powerful. That, my friends, is what they call a network effect, and it is the key to explosive growth. And just look at the scale of the opportunities here. The real estate market alone is over 40 times trillion dollars. When you're building solutions for markets this massive, plus the gig economy, plus DeFi, you only need to capture a tiny slice of the pie to create astronomical value.
Okay, we've been deep in some complex financial stuff, so let's pull all the way back and focus on the core idea and what it could mean for all of us. Because this is about more than just finance. It's really about the nature of trust in a digital world.
So let's just recap the big ideas really quick. It all starts with being able to quantify trust, turning it into a hard number based on real-time behavior. That one innovation can then be used to eliminate huge risks in global finance. It can unlock the value trapped in assets we already own. And when you connect all those pieces together, you create an ecosystem with massive network effects and enormous value. And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. We've just talked about how quantifying trust can reshape banking, finance, and real estate. But if trust itself becomes a liquid, measurable, and even tradable asset, what happens next? What other parts of our economy, our society, and our digital lives are about to be completely transformed by this one idea? Now that's a question worth thinking about.